Sony's $100 million game is already dead. The RTX 5090 might do that to your power supply, and Intel. Holy freaking crap. Lunar Lake. Wow. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Wednesday, September 4th, 2024. We're going to start off today talking about the $100 million flop that is Sony's latest game, Concord. This game launched on both PlayStation as well as PC, kind of like Helldivers did earlier this year. But instead of meeting gamers with rave reviews and fantastic experiences, it was met with literally nothing. And so the plug has been pulled. As of this coming Friday, September 6th, Concord will be dead. Sony will be refunding everybody who bought it on the PS5, Steam, or Epic Games Store. And if you have a physical copy, you can try to return it in order to get your money back. But they're going to be exploring their options in a way to better reach the players. But this was a very expensive game that took them a long time to make. About the same time that Overwatch has been out is how long Concord's been in development. And allegedly, according to some industry analysts, it sold roughly 25,000 copies, which, given its price point, would mean that it made just $1 million on its $100 million budget, which is just... it's brutal to see. It is not as bad as The Day Before, which shut down much sooner, but Concord not necessarily living up to anybody's expectations for it. Let me know if you played it, if you're enjoying it. Did you buy a sealed copy that you're gonna hold on to forever and maybe flip it on the open market in a few years? Who knows? You let me know, and I'll let you know about today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Lenovo Legion and their huge Intel Gamer Days savings. In addition to the already reduced prices, you can get an additional 10% on all Intel-powered Lenovo Legion gaming PCs with code GAMERDAYS24. If you're looking for a new gaming tower, then now is a great time to upgrade. Let me keep it simple for you, and let's go over 3 different options depending on your budget. Starting off with the nice entry-level PC, we have the Legion Tower 5i Gen 8, powered by an Intel i5-14400F and an RTX 4060. With 16 gigs of RAM, this is a great choice for 1080p or esports gaming, made even better with 21% off. If you're looking for something with a little more juice, Lenovo has a great mid-range option with the same Legion Tower 5i Gen 8, only this one is rocking an Intel i7-13700F and an RTX 4070. If you're looking to step up into 1440p gaming, here's your chance to game better than ever at a whopping 32% off. Now, if you're already at 1440p and you want more, Lenovo has you covered with their top-of-the-line Tower 5i Gen 8 fully kitted out with an Intel i9-14900KF and an RTX 4080 and 32 gigs of RAM for a crazy 23% off. Let this gamer's dream of a PC take you fully into the wonderful world of 4K gaming. And like I mentioned before, Lenovo Legion is offering huge savings from August 22nd to September 15th, so be sure to use code GAMERDAYS24 to get an additional 10% off all Intel-powered Lenovo Legion gaming PCs. You can check out these towers and more via the links in the video description. Huge thanks to Lenovo Legion for sponsoring. Well, if you buy one of those Lenovo PCs, maybe consider upgrading the power supply in order to get a 5090, because that's being reported coming out from well-known leakers that the power requirements of the RTX 50 series is going to be more. I'm not shocked by this. I hope you're not shocked by this. The RTX 5090 allegedly going to have a 600 watt TDP. The 5080 is going to be 400 watts, which is just slightly lower than what you currently find on the 4090. The 5070 is going to be 220 watt, the 5060 is going to be 170 watt, and the 5050 allegedly going to be 100 watt if it ever makes it out. This is in sharp contrast to the mobile rumors that we've been hearing lately that they're going to be lowering the TGP on the laptop side of things, but it looks like on the desktop side of things that the RTX 50 series is going to consume more power. That's how they're driving performance, not by giving you any sort of architectural efficiencies, but just you drive it harder. You get it to go faster by giving it more gasoline. Obviously, that still takes a tremendous amount of engineering. I don't want to make it seem like I'm knocking that, because the ability to scale with more power delivery is not something that happens on every card. Give a 4060 600 watts and it's not going to perform like a 4090. It doesn't matter. So it does take engineering skill to give you a GPU that requires 600 watts. It's not like it's just made up out of thin air. If you give a 4090 600 watts, it doesn't scale in performance. So even though we look back and we're like, oh, hey, wow, they're only increasing linearly with power delivery, that still requires people to invent and create and develop. And the idea that progress is inevitable is, I think, a faulty one. And so the fact that we are getting making any progress at all, even with higher power requirements, is not something to be dismissed out of hand. You don't have to buy it, right? I'm not advocating that this is the right move, but it is an engineering challenge. Now I can't wait to get all of the comments down below talking about how I justified NVIDIA's power hungriness. All right, well, you leave those while Reece is telling you about the deals.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals out in the instant. It is Wednesday, my dudes, and I have a couple of deals for you today. Starting off with this Team Group T4's Vulcan Z DDR4 RAM kit, featuring 16 gigs running at 3200 megahertz at CL16 for only $30.99, making it $14 off. Budget builders are eating good lately, and I'm not complaining, but we also have this Asus 27-inch 1080p 75Hz IPS monitor going for only $89.99, making it $60 off. Now, it's not high refresh rate, but it is fantastic to see a 27-inch monitor from a major brand at this price. And then lastly, we have the Fractal Design North ATX mid-tower case, available in charcoal black and a mesh side for only $109.99, making it $30 off. Personally, I think this is one of the best looking cases out in the market, but I want to know from you guys, do you prefer the mesh side or the tempered glass side, you know, for future deal research? But hey, them's the deals. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'll hand you off back to Brett for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
Well, Reece, when you make it back to the US, if you have an Android phone, which I know you don't, you'll be able to use it to get earthquake alerts because Google's rolling out Android earthquake alerts all across the United States. It was available in 97 countries besides the US and was available in a bunch of different states, but now it's available in all 50 US states, including 6 territories, and there's a distinction between Android detection, the USGS shake alert detection for more sensitive areas like California or in the Cascadian subduction zone over on the West Coast. But your Android phone can now let you know when things are shaking when they're not supposed to be. And Android 15 was supposed to shake when the Pixel 9 launched a couple weeks ago, but now it's officially out with the Android open source project. It has been unveiled, it is out there, but it has not launched on any devices yet. And the Pixel devices will likely get it sometime soon. And Acer is allegedly getting an Intel handheld sometime soon. That's at least according to the tweet that they put out, that as of today, we should likely know that they are going to have a Lunar Lake handheld, which we're going to talk about the specifics of in a second after I tell you. I'm excited for this, but also excited for the MSI handheld that's supposed to have Lunar Lake, but details coming out about that is that it's not supposed to launch until early 2025, which is bummer. Hopefully they're reworking software, that they launch it where it has everything in place, because the original MSI Claw was met with lackluster reviews, and so if they're trying to iron out all of those kinks before they launch early 2025, maybe sometime around the CES era, that could allow them to actually have a smooth Claw 8 launch. And by all accounts, the announcement of Lunar Lake over at IFA appears to be very smooth. It's got a lot of people excited for all of the things that Intel showed off. I got a preview of this when we went to their Intel Tech Tour that was at Taiwan right before Computex, so a lot of this was details and micro analysis that they already kind of revealed, but now they're putting it up against benchmarks to things that are out on the market right now. Back before Computex, we were asking, how does this compare to the Snapdragon X Elites that haven't come out yet, or the new upcoming AI 300 series from AMD? How is it going to compete against that? Those were unknown quantities. After being able to review the Snapdragon X chips ourselves, finding that their GPU quite frankly sucks, and their CPU is it's good, it's just not supported in every application that you could possibly want to use it on because of ARM, x86, and Windows. I was very excited for Lunar Lake. We've gotten our hands on the HX370 and Ryzen AI 9 365 laptops, which we've had reviews on here on this channel, so Lunar Lake's the next step. And after having my hands on those AMD laptops, I was excited. I enjoyed the AMD laptops. I'm excited about the 880M, the 890M that are out, but Lunar Lake giving us more. First up, they're saying battery life is going to be at least equivalent to what is currently available with the ARM processors. This is happening because it's their most efficient x86 processor at a historic 2 times performance per watt, and showing in the same OEM in the same chassis with the Core Ultra 7 268V, which is one of the higher end chips, versus the Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite 8100. That's the one that we tested out when we had our Snapdragon chips, that in Procyon office productivity, the Intel chip got better battery life, and in Microsoft's Teams, the Qualcomm got slightly better battery life, but in both, they appear to be comparable and might just depend on what work cases and solutions you're actually using this for, but it does seem to be compelling, at least based on what Intel's saying. Obviously, we have to wait for third-party reviews, which is something that we'll keep a note of, but these chips looking mighty performant, especially with their alleged 18% performance uplift over the Ultra 7155H and 30% improvement in graphics while dropping that power requirement, as we've mentioned. Battle Mage graphics is finally coming in Lunar Lake, and there's going to be quite a huge selection of the Core Ultra 200V series processors. Terrible name, Intel. As excited as I can get about the benchmarks, these names, they're unsettling. But graphics showing 68% improvement over the highest end X Elite chip, 16% over the HX370, which is the 890M, and then 31% improvement over the 155H or the previous ARC generation of graphics. All of these numbers are looking incredible. I tested out the HX370 and I found that that was a revelation, especially compared to a lot of the handhelds that are currently out on the market. 880M, 890M looking incredible, and Intel drops this slide showing their comparison to the HX370, showing in many games the Intel Battle Mage GPU is winning. There are select games where the AMD GPU wins, such as it looks like in Fortnite, if I'm reading this chart correctly, or that could be Minecraft. And then GTA 5, War Thunder, and Rocket League are all kind of close when it comes to AMD versus Intel. Again, wait for third-party benchmarks, but this is intriguing to see nonetheless, and especially after going to the Intel Tech Tour Day, where we had Tom Peterson giving us the breakdown on the things, the micro architectural things that they changed in Battle Mage to actually get this to work. I am excited to see what this is capable of. They did their typical marketing nonsense, which is they showed up to 60% faster gaming performance from previous generation if you turn XeSS performance mode on, which, like, the Ultra 7 could have had XeSS on and you didn't do that. So, you know, just marketing fluff there. So that all appears to be incredible CPU performance, incredible GPU performance, incredible battery life savings, better performance per watt, actually competing with ARM and Qualcomm. And looks like it might be competing with AMD as well. I know this doesn't necessarily rustle everyone's jimmies in a positive way here on this channel, specifically because, you know, desktop PC gamers, Lunar Lake doesn't necessarily correlate to what we're expecting to see with Arrow Lake launching potentially next month. So I get it, but this does appear like all of the details that Intel unveiled at the Tech Tour seem to be at least culminating in a chip that looks to be good and gets me very excited to test it myself and see third-party benchmarks, which is how I know that Intel's on a good track, because when 14900K chips launched, it was like, I kind of know what that's going to be like. It's a 13900K slightly faster, which is called the 13900KS. So Lunar Lake, Arrow Lake, new microarchitectures, changes to the E cores and P cores. Excited. And with that, Intel coming out and saying that the stability issues should not affect Arrow Lake and Lunar Lake, because again, they're based on different cores. Intel putting out a press release saying, hey, we know this is affecting everything else. It should not affect this next gen. Hopefully that's true. And also with this announcement, Microsoft confirming that Copilot Plus is coming to Intel and AMD laptops in November, which I guess it's fine. There's really nothing about Copilot Plus that's currently out for Qualcomm that makes a difference. Recall was like the big feature, and that's not even hitting beta testing until October. So I wouldn't necessarily be bothered that this isn't happening. But Intel should be bothered because there are reports coming out from Reuters that Intel might be dropped out of the Dow Jones Industrial Average for its 60% nosedive in its stock over the year. And so while things are looking positive at this presentation from Intel, they don't necessarily seem to be going well behind the scenes. And there's been reports that there's going to be like a big executive meeting for them to decide what assets they're going to shed and how they're going to move forward, especially with how much money that they've been losing recently. But if Lunar Lake matches anywhere close to their preliminary benchmarks, then they might be eating good. They might make some money back. We'll see. Speaking of back, let's go back to yesterday's episode of Hot News and read your comments to see what you said. It's Dion saying, "Rip Anantech." I agree, RIP. Then John Hicks saying, "Built a 5600X 3D machine for my stepson. It outperforms my 11900K. I'm sure AMD doesn't want to lose out on 7800X 3D sales, and if the 7600X 3D is as good as I suspect it will be, they would." I agree. And then Utopic saying, "Can't wait for the powered by AI branding to go anyway when investors give up on it. I'm waiting for that day." I think we can all kind of see it coming, but as tech enthusiasts, we are a little bit more inclined to view things differently than mainstream. So we'll see how long it takes. Then Dread Pirate saying, Reece, you need to call the jingle Yummy Yummy Deal Master. He's not going to do that. Reece isn't going to do that. Reece is never going to do a jingle. I've given up hope. Scotty G saying, old, you're old. Old Brett 2024. Thanks for reminding us, bro. We're all old. It's okay. The time is slipping. We're slipping into the future, and that's okay. It just means you have new experiences, new life to live. Count each day as a gift. And move on. Then Party of None saying, Brett refusing to even try to pronounce KUN. No out of context clips today. I'm not comfortable with that name. I can't think of a way to pronounce that INEO handheld in a way that doesn't sound vaguely like something I shouldn't be saying. I'm gonna avoid it. And then AIM saying, that price for the INEO makes no sense. I just bought a used mint condition 512 Steam Deck, obviously LCD on SwapUp for $290. Yeah, it does not make any sense, and I don't see anybody buying it, and I really hope that INEO doesn't look at the sales numbers and go, oh, nobody wants to buy our handhelds in America. This is, we're not going to sell here anymore. That would be the wrong thing to take away from it. It's that your competition is way better than you at a much lower price point, and if you want to succeed here, that KUN handheld needs to be, I would say, no more than $599. $499 would be great, but $599 at its most, considering the specs that it has and what's coming out over on the horizon. I'm sad that the pricing is so expensive on those INEO handhelds, and I hope we get more in the future at reasonable price points. And I'm gonna be reasonable and be done with this episode of Hot News. So I'll see you back here for more of the hottest tech news tomorrow.